The key to a great wrestling gimmick is always to be a wrestler and something. Wrestler and garbage man, wrestler and dentist, wrestler and immensely handsome milkman. Hello Doris. Having a gimmick job outside of being a wrestler opens up all sorts of fun character beats and storyline potential, but what happens when wrestlers think, why be a wrestler and something when you can just be something? I mean, that's what they usually think in their post-wrestling career. I'm talking about jobs. I'm Laurie, hailing from partsFUNknown, and these are the 10 weirdest jobs wrestlers have had after retirement. Before we crack on with the rest of the video though, just to say thank you so much to every single person subscribed to PFK, because we have just passed over 200,000 subscribers. That is a massive milestone, but obviously this is YouTube, and for the algorithm's sake, we want to get more. So if you haven't subscribed to the channel and you do enjoy our content, please do consider doing it, because it really helps us out. On with the rest of the video. Number 10. All of the wrestlers who ran for office. Why on earth would you want to get into politics? You could have a nice cushy job falling on your ass 300 nights a year. It sounds pretty good when you look at the current political landscape these days, but tons of wrestlers have actually tried to transition their popularity from the ring to the polls, with several actually winning their races. The likes of Nikolai Volkov, Ludwig Borger, Rhino, Jerry Lawler and Bob Backlund have all run for varying positions with no success, while Brian Blair won a position as the Hillsborough County Commissioner in Florida, and Rick Steiner won a seat on the Cherokee County School Board. Jesse the Body Ventura achieved the highest amount of success, becoming the governor of Minnesota in 1998, while Kane currently serves as the Republican mayor of Knox County, Tennessee. The biggest, reddest machine. Number 9. Diamond Dallas Page, DDP. Why? Diamond Dallas Page credits yoga with saving him when he blew out his back in 1998, and in return, he now dedicates his retirement time to the practice of his own wrestling-inspired version of yoga. I mean, come on, everyone has heard of DDP yoga by this point. Adam has actually done it. Luke owns a DVD. And a mat, which is still rolled up somewhere in the office, completely unused. Good resolution, that one, Luke. And at this point, you can't listen to a wrestling podcast without being bombarded by ads for it. Number 8. Ivory, the Bow Wow Bus. No, not the rapper Bow Wow, who did keep saying that he wanted to be a WWE star last year and is reportedly going to be training with Rikishi. No, instead we're talking about former WWE Women's Champion Ivory, who has spent much of her time post-WWE helping animals, working to help pets affected by Hurricane Katrina, and helping out at animal shelters in Utah and Washington over the years. Eventually, Ivory started an animal daycare training and grooming company called Downtown Dog in 2007. Right to Pamper would have been a much better name. Just saying. She later introduced the Bow Wow bus, which would pick up dogs and take them on outings while their owners were out of town or at work. Number 7. Scotty 2 Hotty, a firefighter and EMT and real estate broker. Now, Scotty 2 Hotty didn't get the memo that he only needed to submit one job for this list. While none of his 3 positions would be considered that weird really, being a retired wrestler, fighter, EMT, real estate broker certainly means he wears a lot of hats, all of which have his hair sticking out the top. Scotty became a registered firefighter in 2013 before training to become a paramedic while working real estate on the side, which is good because if the market ever crashed, he can resuscitate the fainted homeowners or put out all of the houses being burned down for the insurance. It's a triple threat, baby. Scotty also returned to WWE for a producer role before quitting in late 2021 because of the state of NXT 2.0. That's relatable, that. And he's now back wrestling on the independent scene. Number 6. Ted DiBiase Jr., collegeGarageSale.com. Sometimes being the son of the $1 Million Man doesn't guarantee you a nest egg. Such was the case with Ted DiBiase Jr., who after retiring from WWE in 2013 took up an executive position with collegeGarageSale.com. Certainly the most impressive executive position that anyone from Legacy has ever had. Now the site was a college textbook e-commerce site dedicated to selling textbooks for cheaper, so students had more money to spend on student things like booze and maybe wrestling tickets. And definitely booze. Number 5. Wendy Richter, The Westminster Dog Show. Soon, that is 2 mentions of dogs in one list. 3 if you count Rick Steiner. Absolutely wonderful stuff. During her interview on the High Spots Network, good luck finding images of that one, Brandon, Richter spoke about her time competing in dog shows. Not technically a job, as dog shows aren't supposed to have a cash prize, but it seemed like a worthy inclusion on this list anyway when you realise one of those dog shows was some little thing called the Westminster Dog Show, run by the Kennel Club in New York, which, if you're not into dogs, and if you're not, why the hell not, is a pretty big deal. I mean, Richter didn't win the competition by any means, but name me a wrestler who has. You can't. Number 4, Mason Ryan, Cirque du Soleil. Cheers to whoever looked at new Nexus member Mason Ryan and thought, Cirque du Soleil, because I certainly wouldn't have made that connection. I mean, Cirque du Soleil's all hoops and contortion, not slams and ham-sized biceps. Mason Ryan was released by WWE in April 2014 and wrestled for another year and a half for promotions like Full Impact Pro and Antonio Inoki's Inoki Genome Federation, just in case you were waiting for Mason Ryan and Antonio Inoki to be mentioned in the same sentence. In January 2016, however, he announced he was working as the Chief Archer as part of Cirque du Soleil. Now that is a job title we can all aspire to. Not even Hawkeye is the Chief Archer in the Avengers. Only, sure, but Chief? Nah, Sam. In Mason's case, it's cute really, because wrestling kind of started as a circus attraction of sorts, so in a way, he's really come full circle. Number 3, Bret Hart, the Genie. Just like I wouldn't have pegged Mason Ryan to be a circus performer, I would not have picked Bret Hart to be a genie. Bret granted more than his fair share of Make-A-Wishes during his illustrious career, but in 2004 the Hitman joined a travelling production of Aladdin, the family musical, as the genie, and reprised the role in 2006. It was also a wrestling genie as well, so Bret would don the pink and black singlet and then some genie attire and hit wrestling moves on the various villainous characters. You ain't never had a friend like the genius of ginies. There was also a 50-50 chance Tempest saw this production as a child, because of course he did. Number 2, Jimmy Wang Yang, Redneck Party Bus. Now let me tell you, there's not a lot in the world that would get me to take a ride on something called the Redneck Party Bus. I mean, do they even serve espresso martinis on one of those? But telling me Jimmy Wang Yang will be driving is a pretty good start. Because after being released by WWE in April of 2010, Jimmy bought a small school bus, dubbed it the Redneck Party Bus, and this cowboy began rounding up the dollars. In fact, business aboard the bus, which he drove around the Cincinnati area, was so good that he had to expand with the Princess Party Bus, where they might do an espresso martini. Excuse me, I gotta go make a call. Number 1, Harold Sakata, literally odd job. I mean, sure, acting is a less fun way of saying this, but what better odd job could there be than literally playing odd job? Harold Sakata was a Japanese-American wrestler who found success competing in Japan, even winning the All-Asia Tag Team Championship with Riki Dozan, the biggest star in the history of Japanese wrestling. But for Sakata, it was post-wrestling that he made the biggest splash in his acting debut as James Bond villain Oddjob in Goldfinger. Sakata even almost needed to wrestle someone to get the role too, as Dr. No bodyguard and British Indian actor and fellow wrestler Milton Reed challenged Sakata to a shoot wrestling match for the role, but thankfully the producers just chose Sakata instead. Which is a shame, because had this all taken place in another time, we would have gotten a James Bond script on a pole match, and now I weep over what could have been. Also, Jimmy Yang has left me on hold, so I need to go find out about this martini. I'll be back. Bye. That's our list. What do you think? Any other crazy jobs you've heard of wrestlers having after they left the business? Leave a comment down below. You're all going to say China. It is just so predictable. If you want more listy goodness from PFK, then click the ones on screen now. Also subscribe and jam that jam.